Hello and welcome to Sawcast. I think there was a comment that said that's what the name should be.
Oh, okay.
This is our Chainsaw Man monthly roundup, I guess you want to call it, podcast. I'm Jim.
I'm Sam.
And we're joined
Meti.
by no, I stepped on your intro. Say it again.
I'm Meti.
Yay!
and you saw interrupting the guest was my job, Jim.
Thank you for joining us, Meti. I don't know about Sam, but I had a great time last month. So we did.
I hated it, Jim. Fucking despised it.
86, the cameo.
Was it last month? I think we dropped. We talked about the first 4 chapters of the new Chainsaw Man Part 2 manga that's come out. They were, I think, 98 through 101. And
yeah,
today,
I believe so.
Yeah, today we're here to talk about all the ones that came out in August. Unfortunately, not too many. Just 102 and 103.
Yeah, it kind of suddenly became known as going to be bi-weekly now, so...
Yeah, I believe it's because, it's technically whenever he finishes the chapters, but he gets to publish it because he's now working with Jump Plus, so it's on his schedule. There are people saying that it's basically going to be bi-weekly now, which, that's fine.
Like
it is totally fine.
The Murata way of just, it'll be out when it's out, and we like that.
Yeah. I'm totally fine with it. I'm just happy that Chainsaw Man's back and it's releasing semi-regularly.
Yeah, we got a little bit of War, and a little bit of Chainsaw. And you love to see Denji being back. I think we last left off with predicting if Denji would come back, and he literally came back like the fucking chapter after we discussed that.
Yeah, I was like, in the next 5 chapters he'll be back.
Yeah, and I just love the balls of Fujimoto just not having Denji in the first month and a half of bringing his big series back. It's just. It's really funny, and it gives us some time away from Denji, because I found that in Chapter 103, we get, a really deep look into Denji, and things have kind of changed for him. He's kind of, totally in a different mindset now. We can talk about that when we get there.
Yeah, but also not.
Yeah. It's more so that, I think it's interesting to see how he's gotten over, all the shit that he went through, and how his goals have kind of just went back to the original ones that he had.
I'm just assuming that child is dead that he's supposed to be taking care of, seeing how he is.
Yeah, it's like the kid from fucking Gantz, just abused child that just needs a big buff man to come save its life.
I don't know. I'm thinking of just There's one point in we're like, hey, third Hokage, you're gonna be taking care of the son of the fourth Hokage, and then he's like, okay, I will. And then he completely doesn't. He lives as a fucking orphan.
Oh man, the third Hokage did Naruto dirty.
The biggest villain.
I think Kakashi goes to his house. He has half an expired milk left over.
Oh my god. I think all he did, you have an apartment. That's all I'm giving you. But no, it's some interesting stuff. We see some Return of the Bat Devil and some new devils that we see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
You go first.
No, I was gonna say, I just Fujimoto is just returning to form with this great paneling. I love this the way that the pages. It's like a 2-page spread, but dissected, so we see them comically running away from the Bat Devil, and then the Bat Devil just destroys the whole alleyway that they're in, and they just get launched forward.
Well, in typical platform, you're supposed to go from left to right, but they're going from right to left and get punished for it. They're playing it wrong.
It's a Bowser Flea section.
Yes. But yeah, we get some nice little War Devil stuff, which I love to see them together as usual. With turning Yuko into a weapon.
Yeah, and I really also love the horrific piece of pipe that just destroyed her femur. That is just so not femur, whatever. It's just right going through her bone.
The shrapnel.
It's right through her shin, I believe.
Shrapnel's the most dangerous weapon in any form of media.
And it's I don't know. I think I was a little skeptical about this being our new protagonist, or a a sort of like side protagonist at first, but I like this little moment where we get like this kind of look at their psyche, because the War Devil is like totally in their head and they can totally like understand them. So the big bombshell is that Asa did not feel sorry about killing Bucky, which is really funny to me. It was the act of being seen killing Bucky.
Yeah, being caught in public.
It's an interesting way to spin that. Which means
also...
that her hatred of devils isn't dissipated, because, like, we know, we get to actually see, soon enough, where her hatred came from, as they talked about her family was killed by a devil attack. And so, her being seen... I don't even know if it's, like, the killing of Bucky was the problem there. Was her being seen as now this class outcast killing a class pet.
She was seen as the villain.
She doesn't like being seen as the villain.
But she's like, hey, no, there's no one watching. You just totally kill her. There's her axe right there that they gave you a real axe for the school club. You can kill her right now.
It kind of reminds me of like how like axes look in like Kojima. Like how, I don't know, there's something like really utilitarian about the design of it. Like how like weapons look in like the kind of Kojima universe. I'm also thinking about like, what's it, Kaiju number 13? Like they have very like utilitarian sort of, I don't know, like not really like super stylish. This is just a random detail. I don't know why I'm fixating on the axe. I just.
I mean, like it's a very simplified design. It's probably because it's a mass-produced style. Because that's a school axe. They got to return that after
school
class.
Axe. What is it even? They have like they have lumberjack classes in that school. Lumberjack club. They borrowed it from.
It's a property of the devil hunting club. They got to return it afterwards.
You know how like when you start a new year in high school, you have to like rent the book out and you have to like write the condition that you got the book in. Like, all right, axe. Oh my
god,
lightly used axe.
Dude, I got one time in school. Like, I somehow got charged like $10 because the book had out. It had a book stock on it and everything. It was barely damaged. It was just like the edge of the corner that's in your backpack. It's worn out. But like, no, that's damaged enough. We're gonna charge you money for like damaging this book.
Damn.
I'm like,
yeah, all those books, all the corners get bent because it's a book.
Book stocks also just pull on the corners.
Yeah, it's a book that gets daily use. Of course, it's gonna show. It's not gonna remain pristine.
I didn't rip a page out. I didn't draw in the book. No, just the edges of it are a little worn, so we're gonna charge you money for it.
Man, I forgot, like, being given a book by the school. Oh, that sounds so nice.
Dude, books
instead of having to buy the book on your own, then you just don't give a shit about the condition.
No.
You had to get book stocks, and they were the hardest to find thing ever. I don't know why. So you had to like hoard your book stocks.
I know. Once I got to college, I just like I treated my books like shit.
I mean,
I paid $144 for you.
You will be the coffee stand.
Even if you like buy the new book, you hardly able to just resell it. Or like you get like it's like a GameStop. No, it's also a GameStop where we're like, oh yeah, we'll give you like $10 for this book.
Yeah.
I think my college got lucky where like they had like a renting out thing and like they didn't really care about the conditioning afterwards. So like that was convenient when they had the book. But
I just remember everybody would share like links to like Russian websites that had like the entire PDF of the book, like so you could just illegally download it.
God, I remember because like the one book was just used for so long that people just had all the answers for like the one like math book of like because it was so like used throughout that everybody just like shared the answer to everything. It's funny. So,
all right,
really distraction.
So back to Chainsaw Man.
So tripping.
So we have this kind of like moment where Yuko could totally die, and I was like almost convinced that Yuko was gonna die here, just because I know how these stories go, and he treats life so carelessly sometimes. But yeah, our main character makes an actual heroic decision. She is a good guy. She picks up Yuko and runs away from the Bat Devil, dooming both of them.
Yuko's injury transfers to her other leg in the scene where she's running away.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice that. Oh my god, that's hilarious.
But she's we learned that she's like a token for bad luck of it's always tripping where it matters the most. As Bucky wasn't just a single incident.
Oh yeah, I do like that calling to the fact that she tends to just like eat shit whenever she needs to like do something important. Her with the birthday cake falling.
Yeah.
Oh, that one's so sad.
I love how it cuts away right before you see it smash into her face, because it totally is going to hit her face.
Have you ever fallen with like a food like that, or like actually like a meal, or like a just a?
Thankfully, no. No.
It's the worst. I've tripped once or twice with food, and it's like the most miserable thing in the world. Because it's like you just look at it, and it's just this. There could have been so much.
Yeah. I know my clumsiness, and I'm like, I am not carrying jack shit, or I'm like very careful. I don't lift my feet up. I'll just drag my feet. But yeah, we let to learn about her mother, and like kind of, I guess it's also kind of a mirroring of what we see with Denji, who chooses to save the cat over human life.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Oh yeah, like this whole arc has been like a nice like reflection of Asa and Denji, where they're like the first big devil that they fight is Bat. Her fight with Bat goes about as poorly as Denji's original battle, but
Also,
she doesn't.
I was like, what do you think the devil they're like running away from is in the flashback?
Oh, we already know it's Typhoon.
Is it Typhoon?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Typhoon before it. People assume it's Typhoon before it died because it's an old man and it's a baby when we see it in the main story.
And he has a Hitler stash.
So it's assumed that Typhoon is killed after this situation, dies, goes to hell, comes back as the baby that we see in the main story.
I guess it makes sense. It's like the wind. It seems like a whole like windstorm pushing shit towards them as well. Okay, but yeah, we get her mother being killed, and she saves the cat.
Yeah, she picks up a cat, and her mother trying to help her because she trips with the cat.
I appreciate she didn't fall with the cat and hit the ground. She had it like raised up.
Oh man, she took that fall on the face.
Yeah. I bet hey, the cat took 0 damage other than the little wound it had on his leg.
Even just going back to like how he calls back, or how he uses kind of the same idea, like in the panels before where we saw like the cake and the baton before they like hit the ground, we see the car before it hits the mom, and it's like this kind of like moment of anticipation right before like the crash kind of thing. And I think it's like a really powerful. I didn't even think about that until I was just like flipping through it again just now. But yeah, it's pretty sad.
I also like that when you have the person in the aftermath and she's with the cat and she's like, "Oh, you saved the cat. That's wonderful." And that just immediately makes her feel even worse.
It's also like the opposite of Denji, where Denji like doesn't like save any of the humans for the cat, and just like loves the praise he's getting, where she feels horrible for what happened for saving the cat. It's great. I love it.
These two are going to be great. I can't wait for them to interact.
I'm foreshadowing sort of like Chimera Ant arc, how like Gon and the King Meruem go on like they go on like the same
you mean where they just
arc,
never fucking
reverse.
meet?
Yeah, they never meet.
They lock eyes once. That's it.
They never meet, but they also go on the same character arc, but in different ways. Like Gon goes from being like a normal human to a monster, and then Meruem goes from being a monster to like a human. So that's kind of what I'm seeing. Denji's gonna be on the down, the down arc of that one.
Oh my, that's a very good comparison. But yeah, so she like maybe more of her running. We see, and she wants to save her. She wants her to live, and we see Denji appears and saves the day.
Well, Denji appears in the most Chainsaw Man way possible, where Bat is able to eat them up. And then is immediately killed and crushed to death by a completely unrelated devil fight.
Yeah. He's saved by Denji. I didn't say there was quotes. There were quotes around that word "saved" and Denji. I love what a bigger, dumber fight is happening on top of this smaller scale. Even the smaller scale is very large scale in comparison as well.
Oh yeah, I like that that Denji is not a hero in the traditional way. That it is collateral damage that saves the day.
Mm-hmm. And he's still beloved.
There's many factors of hero Denji.
Also, thank God Denji saved her. It made Yuko's injury go back to her right leg. As you can see her getting spit up by Bat.
Yuko also seems to wake up a little, because she, like, also during this.
What a great time to wake up.
Yeah, just to see, what was it, the Cockroach Devil?
Yes,
Yes.
I believe it's Cockroach.
It's a very interesting devil choice.
I
mean,
love the way this guy looks. It's awesome.
That
There
Cockroach
was
is
a big push. There were a lot of people who really loved Cockroach's design. And, like, I was seeing some really funny art of him, like, being drawn very, as if he was adorable.
Cockroach should never be able to die, though, even through Chainsaw Man. Like, he just keeps coming back.
Oh, maybe he will.
I mean, I'm glad that he is as big and powerful as he is, because cockroaches are one of those things that are still traditionally considered, no, you don't show that. They're one common trope you see in a lot of anime and manga is if there is a cockroach in the room, it is usually pixelated and hidden.
Ooh,
And-
Cockroach is a pack with Yuko, so every time she dies, she just comes back to life. Because everybody thinks she's gonna keep dying.
That's so fun. I don't think I've ever noticed the pixelized cockroach thing.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times.
Yeah,
I think-
it's also the reason that like cards like Max C look the way they do.
Oh my god, the whole Maxi line is like that. That's interesting. I didn't even like think about why they're all just little like diamonds in like the shadows.
Yeah, because you don't want to show the cockroach, but you want to imply that it exists. I don't know
I think the only like sea monster in the Yu-Gi-Oh line monster art is Shiny Black Sea, which is a common rider cockroach, and that's like it. I didn't even think about that.
I don't know what the trope is called, but I do know that it is common enough in Japan that, like, there is enough of a fear of cockroaches that this dude would be pretty badass.
Oh my god, yeah.
That's
Japan,
really interesting.
Probably why he appears in Japan, primarily, so.
Have you ever encountered a cockroach IRL?
I've been
They're
in New York
fucking
City,
scary.
and... so yes.
I was like house sitting in Philly once, and a fucking cockroach, a big black cockroach, just like walked into the kitchen, and I fucking screamed and threw a shoe at it as hard as I could.
God.
And then I went outside later, and they were everywhere. It was horrifying. I was walking a dog. It was horrifying.
Right now, the equivalent right now for where we're at is like lanternflies, because they would just like dive bomb into you, and they can just swarm all over.
Yeah, I've only encountered a cockroach once, and it was forever ago, up at, when I was dog sitting for my mom, and, like, I just walked in, I just went and got, one of those, brush scoops, I scooped it and just fucking catapulted that shit into the woods. He was not ready for that.
Yeah, they're terrifying. They're so gross. It's one of those things like you don't understand how gross it actually is until you see it in person, and you have like this visceral, like it's like an evolutionary response to how gross and crazy they are. Yeah, not for me.
Bigger, or like a rad roach in Fallout, where they're just giant.
I would actually kill myself if I saw one of those in real life. My reaction to seeing like a one that was like 2 inches long was visceral enough.
Well, you can kill a rad roach and consume its meat in Fallout.
You drive a hard bargain.
No, other than a Cazador, I would just like literally take suicide than anything. A giant mosquito scares the fucking shit out of me more than like a giant roach.
Oh, I mean,
That would be
like,
terrifying.
the Cazadors are giant, they're, tarantula flies, I think is what they're called.
Oh,
Or,
I
no,
always
tarantula hawks is what they're called.
oh my god.
I hate that. I don't like that.
Yeah, I hate the word.
Honestly, giant bugs are just like, I'm good.
The word makes me uncomfortable.
Oh my god.
Tarantula hawk. All right, but yeah, so
We
my
get the
boy,
Spider-Man 1 choice.
my boy Cockroach, he does some epic shit. I love that like he throws Denji and like does that thing where he punches him with all four arms. It's just epic. It's
The
just
collateral damage of this is hilarious. But no, we get to people like put it out. It is like the Spider-Man 1 choice of like saving the cart full of like high schoolers or save Mary Jane.
Save one. Yeah.
I love it. It's the it's also like the trolley problem, and Denji picks the correct option when it comes to it.
Yeah, just
See?
get the cat.
No, he would have picked the one person or the car if it had a hot girl in it. And
It's
he didn't.
true. He
That's
picked
true.
up a young man and a car full of old men. No one was safe.
If one of his options was Kirsten Dunst, he would have chosen Kirsten Dunst in an instant, but he didn't.
But
God.
I do. I like someone pointed out. Like Denji solves the trolley problem entirely. It's kill the person who puts you in the trolley problem scenario.
That's awesome.
The old people were gonna die regardless, but his cat still had a fighting chance. Okay.
And the cute thing about the whole cat scenario is if on the page where he drops where it's the next to the drops where you see his arms get cut off, you can see the cat hanging on the cliff there, right up next to Cockroach's elbow.
Oh.
It's really small. It's hard to make out, but
yeah, I totally didn't even see it the first time. That's so funny.
Also, just typical cat of just to get up there to the top of a building for no reason. Typical cat behavior.
It's just, yeah, I just remember, like, seeing it everywhere on Twitter, like, that one panel where he's cradling the cat, and he's like, there is a cat too, dude. Like,
hang in there poster, the modern day hang in there poster.
What an incredible reintroduction to this beloved character.
Oh, yeah, and
just seeing, like, the car on fire, the dead student, and it's, like, him having the cat in hand.
And some people also point out that the cat very clearly resembles Power in visual design.
Power,
yeah.
and Power was a horrible influence on him to save cats more than humans. So
it even pogs at the end. It does do a pog face.
Because specifically Power's devil design. It has the way its paws are and the way its face is.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said this, but like this cats in the Chainsaw Man universe like don't react to any horrific thing or like anything. They just like are the chillest things. They'll like allow you to be picked up and petting, where like half cats in like real life just don't want to be picked up at all and will scratch you. There's no cat devil, so. But yeah, we get.
So that was like all action. That chapter was basically just like all action.
It's like here's what she was going through, but here's what Denji was actually doing all this horse shit also.
And the cool thing is, we get a glimpse into how society is also handling devil attacks.
Merchandising.
No talk about the destruction, the casualties, the what's it called? Collateral damage. Chainsaw Man killed the cockroach devil and saved a cat.
Yeah, he's rewarded for it, or he's applauded for it.
And you kind of get like the public point of view, which is I find like very interesting, and it just Fujimoto really wanting to draw fucking pedestrians, like her Rocky draws like civilians in JoJo are like horrendous creatures.
I really like these little testimonial panels because it's like, I don't know, it's interesting to see like what do people think of Chainsaw Man, and I think some of them are really funny and like very realistic. Like the one salaryman is just like, I just can't accept him. I don't like him, I guess. I feel like I've watched a million interviews of like salarymen, and they just sound exactly like that. Like they just don't have like a real opinion. They just like kind of bumble about for a few seconds.
I was thinking of variations of like the comic book Marvel Universe civilians who are the most ungrateful civilians in like anything, where they just get angry at any superhero trying to save them. Where this is just like they don't care that this majority of this don't care all destruction to happen. Like, yeah, it's cool. I'm glad the Hulk just smashed up everything. It's great.
Oh yeah, it's nice because there's also sort of this, because calling back to the sort of danger, like, blindness that these people have to, like, that 7 in 20 people will die of a devil attack, like we learned in the last batch. It makes sense that the populations, in a world that everyone knows that the more you fear something, the stronger you make it, that people's reaction to these horrific tragedies has dulled to the point that, like, it's all about the good thing that the Chainsaw Man did, and that your critiques of them aren't really about the Chainsaw Man, like, destruction, and it's more about, like, man, I just don't really like him for some reason, or I think he's too popular.
It's like a Godzilla attack where like half the city got destroyed, but like most of the movies don't care about the collateral damage, or like, oh yeah, Godzilla saved the day and protected us 4 humans that were following him around.
Like there is a person here talking about collateral damage, where it's like, there's a lot of property damage because of him. I can't deal with a man who doesn't take care of things.
Yeah, it's not about the thing. It's about her opinion of like, oh, men like this. Like, oh, if I were to I would not date the Chainsaw Man. Like, yeah, that's a really good point. It's not about like, if people don't really like show fear in like the same way that
I also got some of these as like reactions to the Chainsaw Man manga. Like I'm a huge fan, but it's too gory for the kids.
Yes, I feel like a lot of it does feel that way too.
The one guy is too popular. It ticks me off.
That one, I forget if it was like someone proved it or not. I remember seeing that going around, and people were putting that up with the only like image of Fujimoto that we have, and people are assuming that was Fujimoto putting himself in the work.
If you say like Chainsaw Man, more like Lame Saw Man.
Though the best one of these reactions is the Chainsaw Man doesn't really exist. It's American propaganda.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the one that goes like, he's stealing our gerbs from the Devil
Yeah,
Hunter.
there is a stealing our jobs guy.
Sticker gerbs.
The old woman that's like, I bet he only saved that cat to eat it. Like, awesome.
Denji would never. Denji has certain things not even he would eat.
Denji only eats humans.
If Denji ate the cat, no
Or
cat.
devils, I should say.
People would forget about the existence of cats. So.
And it's funny, speaking of Denji, they then interview this, oh man, he must know the Chainsaw Man or something.
I would really love he's gonna drop his phone number.
Oh yeah, and I love that each of Denji's reactions here can tie back to someone else's like critique of Chainsaw Man. Like the first is obviously in reaction to the cat. The Chainsaw Man is grotesque, but but it's so cool. That's in response to the it's too gory for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I know one of the other ones where he's talking about like everyone in his high school loves Chainsaw Man. It's one of the high schoolers here. My entire class is obsessed with him. And obviously the number one is the number one.
Okay.
So each of Denji's reaction here can tie back to one of the civilian critiques of Chainsaw Man. It's usually either the really positive ones or one of the negative ones.
And then I love the producers or the cameraman's like reaction. He's like, "Dude, you can't give your number on television. Like, just like cut that shit out.
Cut the feed." Well, edit it out.
I just want to say, I always love spotlighting random like background character designs that I love. I love this reporter lady. I think she's so cute, and I love her dress, her like outfit. Fujimoto does like really good costume design, I think, and particularly with baggy clothes. I love the way that he illustrates like baggier clothes on women. Just looks really good.
Oh yeah,
it's great. Oh god. But yeah, then we get a reunion where Denji just like me and like, who are you?
Oh man, the interaction that tanked thousands of fan arts.
I was like, oh my god, he's literally me right now saying, I don't remember who you are in that arc either.
You me for real. I don't remember this character.
I'm the only one. But
right before he shows up, though, I do love that part where Denji's standing triumphantly as everyone's cheering for Chainsaw Man. It really gives me like a sort of Peter Parker vibe. Like he really,
they love me.
Yeah, literally like the Toby Peter Parker. But he's like such a dark inversion of Spider-Man because he just murders. he just like lets people die for like nothing. It's just really hilarious.
There is an asshole like Spider-Man, Scarlet Spider, who's just like an ass. He's like a more of an asshole Spider-Man, where he would just like yell at civilians, like, "What the fuck are you looking at? You just get the fuck away! Stop thanking me! I'm literally beating the shit and stabbing bad guys in front of you."
Yeah, I love that we're actually seeing Fujimoto like pay off the talks of like Denji, like his identity as a superhero, because that was one of the big takeaways at the end of Chainsaw Man Part 1 is there was an interview, I think it was talking about like what Part 2 is and what's to come and like the themes of Part 1, and he talked about how like Denji's character is the evolution of a superhero, where he starts off as someone who wants to live both lives, but by the end of Part 1 he has to adopt Chainsaw Man as a character. Like, he can't be Denji and Chainsaw Man. He has to be one or the other, and he chooses Chainsaw Man.
Mm-hmm.
And so now he lives this sort of secret identity, but he clearly doesn't want it to be a secret identity.
Yeah, he's the dark inversion of Spider-Man, because he wants people to find out who he is.
Bully Maguire.
Yeah.
You can tell Fujimoto really loves those Spider-Man movies, so can't wait for Denji to start dancing on the street and pointing at
we're so close. We're so close. It is actually really interesting thinking about it that way, because Octopus's whole thing is like they don't want his secret identity to get out there. Like, how funny is it in that they would? I don't know. I feel like I've never seen a story where it's like flipped like this. Maybe like I guess you could say like the end of Iron Man 1, but that was almost kind of like a gag so that he could have the I am Iron Man moment. Like, I don't know. I love that he's actively trying to like give his identity out, and his goal. We learn his goal is so that he can get hot chicks because they know that he's Chainsaw Man.
As in, while they're talking though, like I do like you can see the people walking like in the street behind them. But you don't have to put that detail. You can just have a glare or just have a wall behind them. But I like seeing civilians like in the background. Just extra measure Fujimoto gets to draw.
Oh
yeah, all like the frames and stuff too. I kept analyzing all like the picture frames behind them in this like cafe scene because I was like, there has to be something. What is this?
There's a couple things. But also, just like their order of food is just like a whole cake, ice cream, orange juice, spaghetti, iced coffee. If I'm forgetting anything else, but
it's something caramel.
Oh, cream caramel custard pudding.
Oh, that sounds so good.
I love that scene as well, where he's like, "Can I go order that cream
He's learning.
Yeah,
he's learning. He's making progress of pronunciation. He's like at my tier level now of pronunciating words. So
pronunciating.
I do like because he definitely still can't read as much. But he has picked up on words that he can say at restaurants, and it will always work.
You know, Denji is just high school anime Ralph Wiggum from The Simpsons, where he's just trying his best. Okay.
Though one of my favorite things about Yoshida and Denji's interaction when they first meet each other again for the first time, is Denji's denial of the events beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Where Yoshida's like, "Oh, don't you remember those assassins that came after you?" And he's like, "Didn't happen." And
no, it's just me.
Like an entire arc he is just denying, and I don't know if he's doing it because
fake news didn't happen. There was no Darkness Devil. Did that whole arc didn't?
Yeah, I don't even remember Darkness Devil.
What's that?
I don't know if he's trying to keep what happened in his past a secret to just civilians, or if it's because Yoshida is a guy who approached him very openly and he's like, "Don't fucking talk to me, dude."
Or just wait till Kobeni shows up with a car. Like, oh my god, Kobeni's car! How you doing? Just remembers that, but doesn't remember like
the
anybody
car.
else.
This is where my brain went when you hit me with it.
But also like the threat of like, what happens if I get found out? I'm not gonna let you eat this cake. It's like a threat.
It's also a nice like threat that even if you try to stop me from doing the things I like, I'll do them anyways, because he's like, "I won't let you eat cake," and Denji just literally digs his hand in, like, you couldn't
like
stop
goblin.
me if you tried.
A fucking goblin.
Of like,
I love the way he does it too, because it feels like something that I've always imagined doing, where you just try and like slice a cake with your hand.
And his fucking face, it's the biggest, like, you couldn't stop me face. Yoshida, oh man, it's a perfect interaction. They've known each other for 5 minutes.
Also, I guess he's not in the Hunter Association. He's like in like another mysterious organization that's there to just, I guess, be the men in black who watch over Denji.
That's the interesting thing. Yoshida mentioning the secret organization. I like that Fujimoto does the thing that he does, where he is self-referential about his story, where he's like, it's not some manga organization, we aren't evil and have any secret objectives. But beforehand, when there was like the Makima execution squad, you had Kishibe teaming up with this group of people who were outside of, assumedly, the Public Devil Hunter squad, or else they would have been found out. He already had associations with Yoshida, and they were already investigating Makima. It makes me believe that they are part of the same organization, and that it must be something that Kishibe is involved with, because Kishibe leaves part 1 talking about how he is going to be busy for a while, so he can't look after
Makima Jr.
Yeah, young Makima.
Makima Jr.
And so
Kid Makima.
This shadow organization that he's a part of, I assume, is either one that Kishibe works for or has started himself.
Yeah, to me, Kishibe is one of those characters that I'm dying to see.
Yeah,
like
I love him.
Such a like minor part of the first part of Chainsaw Man, but I just can't wait to see, because he's like pulling like the levers of power now,
and he was kind of like the mentor character where they learned, like the old like guy who's like they had to learn from, but he was just very ruthless about everything and murdered them multiple times. There's also one little thing where like when the waiter brings them their drinks, they stay like for a second because they see Denji like gremlin eating the cake. The one little like thing I noticed, I like really love that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like you said, he wants to like reveal his identity to get ladies to love him, and he's literally speechless.
Yeah, Denji's motive, very in character for him. There's clearly some aspect of him that he is covering up at this moment. He is being very greedy with his life now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think part of his character will be tempering that a bit. Because he's done a complete 180 from his start of the series. Where he was living off of bread, scraping to get by. Now he has something, and he's going to use it to get him as much as he can at any given time.
Yeah, and we also, I'm not sure if you guys actually analyzed any of the pictures at all for anything that were behind him.
Oh, I did a little bit of analyzing on them. Though I do want to point out one thing that I found, I think it's Kyle Anime Scouter is a dude I follow on Twitter. He pointed something cool about the Yoshida reaction scene. When Yoshida is like, he has like hand on his chin, he points up, points forward, and then makes like a hand sign. Apparently, the motion he does there is more than, like, it's obviously like the I'm speechless, like he's trying to say something and he just like loses it.
The figure goes down. I've seen like the image before of like, yeah, the meme of like.
But the way that his hands move there, this is something that Kyle found out. It can be read as "who will die."
Huh.
So it might be a subtle reference or foreshadowing to if Denji's secret gets out, lots of people will die. But I thought I'd point that out because I thought that was interesting, and that person does a lot of really good analysis on like Chainsaw Man chapters when they come out. So I wanted to
I'll
give
definitely
them.
check them out.
But those pictures.
Yeah, I mean, no, probably most right in the middle one is the cage with the feather, and that kind of knows like the nuclear bomb jar thing on the top left.
Yeah, that one, the bomb jar that I noticed that like right after the picture, because up in the corner it seems like it's two crates stacked on top of each other. It looks a little bit like a nuke, or at least a mushroom cloud explosion. That could I completely admit that could be me reading a little bit too far into it. I don't see what it is otherwise. I don't think it's a picture of a nuke. I think it's like a perfectly stacked thing that kind of looks like one. And but the clear, obvious one that has symbolism is the birdcage. Like, it ties both into Denji here in this arc where they want to put Denji in a cage, essentially. They don't want his identity getting out. He can be Chainsaw Man, but he has to also be Denji. And obviously, confinement, birdcage, birds are symbolisms, or birds symbolize freedom. So when you put a bird in a cage, you are containing someone's freedom. But there is another bird that was introduced right at the beginning of this part 2, and that's both Asa and
Bucky.
Bucky, that's right. This is a symbol of Bucky. But
Bucky's coming back.
War is an owl. Asa is tied to bird because it was like, what was it? Bird and War was the first chapter. And so that was like chainsaw and dog. Denji was the dog. Puchita was the chainsaw. Asa is the bird. So the fact that it's also not just a birdcage, it's a birdcage with a feather left over, meaning that the bird is either gone or dead, and it's only left behind a piece of itself. So that means that War is free, it's out, and it's conjoined with Asa, while there's still something to put back in the cage. So there's a lot to read there.
War's name mean night, or does it mean dark? Or
it means night.
Night, because there's a lot of like stars and there's a moon on like a lot of paintings around it, so it probably also like.
Oh yeah, I think the nighttime image there is supposed to be in reference to that. I also like that there's a lot of what's it called? Paralleling art, where you have the white tree and a black background next to a black tree and a white background, and then like the two stars. It's a lot of nice paralleling details. I think a lot of that wall is very much like, this is Asa and Denji.
Their story.
Yeah, which is so exciting. I love that. Like, I think that's a really interesting way to take the story. And frankly, I can't wait to see what Fujimoto does with it.
Can't wait. I thought, Jim, I just have a thought of like Denji's apartment reminds me of would probably be Ray's apartment in Evangelion. Just like bloodied clothes and like
just random shit everywhere.
Shit everywhere.
Just underwear all over.
My hope is that we do at some point go back to Denji's apartment and it's fine. I have to I have to believe in my heart he's taking care of the kid. I don't want to believe that this kid is in worse care.
I could also see it. Okay, I'm playing through like the sequel to AI Somnium Files, but it's a relationship of like he could be Date and she's like Mizuki who has to take care of him. She's like more mature than like the person that's supposed to be like her adopted father essentially. And it's just like she just hates him because of that. So it's like an opposite of Makima. She just like fucking loathes this man. And probably beats the shit out of him. I feel like the child we're probably gonna cut to like her in like elementary school or something, being like fucking like Wednesday Addams to like the entire school.
No, that'd be interesting.
That's it. Cause like, oh yeah, cause I can see Fujimoto just loving the Addams Family Values movies too. So he's like, I'm gonna do that too.
He's
like,
a big movie fan.
Literally, you can just rip from any movie. But where do you think we're gonna go from after this? Then do you think we're gonna continue with Denji stuff, or do you think we're gonna go back to like?
I think we have to go back to Asa now.
Yeah.
I think the next few chapters are gonna be switching between until the two meet.
People still think like, oh yeah, she's gonna like become friends with Denji and not even know he's Chainsaw Man, and then become and ask him out.
He's gonna find her unattractive and not reveal because he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to get with her because he doesn't think she's attractive.
If he doesn't find her attractive, oh, that's gonna be so tragic.
Or he only finds the War Devil version of her attractive if he digs scars or something. I don't know.
Damn, you got really pretty eyes.
God, I'm excited for that, but it's gonna be it's gonna happen when the anime drops, or something big's gonna happen like right before the anime drops. I feel like they have to have a big moment to tell you, like, oh yeah, the anime's coming.
I don't know. I wouldn't put too much stock in like something about the anime because I thought like we were gonna get something big, and then we proceeded to get one of the most down to earth chapters, which was really good, but was nothing big.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't get my hopes up with manga stuff before an anime. Half the part like the JoJo events were incredibly disappointing. Almost all of them were.
Yeah.
But very, very good. I'm not sure if any other predictions you guys have.
I really don't. I was gonna ask if we had any like final thoughts, final predictions.
Not really.
I feel like we really don't have too much to predict on at the moment. It's kind of just like we finally got the big drop, which was Denji.
We got to see what Denji is like now, and he is very similar to what he was at the start of the series, or more like at the end of the series. He's very much what he claimed he wanted to be. He wanted to eat like great every day. He wanted to have 10 girlfriends and have tons of sex. And it seems like he's going down that path.
Goddamn, he's gonna get destroyed by the Virgin Devil. He's literally gonna just wipe him
Virginity
clean.
Devil.
The Virginity Devil.
Because Virginity Devil would probably be really strong because a lot of people are afraid of it.
It was a big fucking like joke in like American movies and probably in Japan, like a lot of their fucking harem animes or whatever about, oh no, I'm gonna be a virgin forever, and it's like a big fear for like anime protagonist or like harem protagonist.
Devil.
And Denji's not gonna know what to do. It just like leads them on, and I don't know. That's just stupid. But I can see Fujimoto just doing it for shits and giggles.
We shall see.
If the Cockroach Devil can be that fucking a big buff dude with like 4 arms, why not?
I guess if I had one prediction, if this series is following the trend of like redoing arcs to put Asa in the same place as Denji, I think that we're past that point now that Denji has appeared. But if it's going to continue that, I can't wait to see either a new hybrid or an old hybrid come back.
Yeah, we're all on that like past hybrid coming back, or maybe one of the weird like background hybrids we didn't know nothing about until they appeared for like a panel at like the Whip Devil.
Man, imagine if like the first devil we get to interact with is fucking long sword, looking like Denji's fucking unused character design. They're like there was a French art museum that Fujimoto got to do like a showing at. And one of the things that he showed off was, like, Denji's concept art. And, like, there's literally, like, a Denji, as we see him now, with dark eyes and black hair, and it looks almost verbatim like the fucking samurai sword. So, or not samurai sword, long sword.
Long sword.
So I'm like, yo,
That's so
Fujimoto, you
funny.
just reused that design, didn't you?
I mean, the hybrid devil, like, where they went to afterwards, or if they're even still alive after Makima, it's, like, never answered, so...
Yeah, I would love to see Reze again. You know, like...
Don't we all?
She used to be your favorite character, Fujimoto. Where is she? Bring her back.
Where's my goddamn bomb devil?
Where's my goddamn bomb girl?
I need that damn smile. And yeah, there's like I can see him, like, if he does the hybrid, bringing him in with like a new one we didn't know anything about. The whip devil.
The whip, and then we get to have the argument about what whip is, because no one's clear if whip is a guy or a girl.
It's just gonna be like one of the things like, are you a boy or girl? Yes. What's
Whip is, I feel like Whip has to be a girl, just because they have the high-waisted pants.
I don't know.
I'm looking at a picture.
The femdom, the femdom, or the people that are into the BDSM shit. I don't know.
Hey,
I feel like
there could be a lot of fear behind that.
the whip is more into the into love than there is in the hate. Honestly, with how it is, people conceive a whip nowadays, it's more so that than I feel like a fear of it. But you'll see. Maybe have it because War technically isn't really a hybrid, so
War, I can't tell what they are exactly.
they're like a new breed.
Yeah, it's a new combination. I want to think they're a hybrid because there is some form of transformation that goes into it where their face changes and everything.
It's a transformation contract mixture, so we'll see.
I think last time, our last podcast, Meti, you mentioned how similar it was to Puchita, except the like sticking around, like where Puchita kind of left, he kind of like I guess became Denji's heart because that was part of the deal.
And then he hid inside the door that hid his father's murder scene.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, this one it's still like kind of sticking around and can exert control too. That's kind of the big thing. Can exert control over Asa.
Until she can't because of
unless she's skew.
Yeah, like
which is like the
War
worst drawback.
I have to imagine we're gonna get more about War as well, because I mean, like, clearly by the end of the series we're gonna get more about War, but I mean, like, sometime recently, I need to know why War is being so forefront about all of their weaknesses. It feels like something that you wouldn't be telling someone that you're trying to manipulate. Like, hey, just so you know, I can't take over your body when you're scared. Why would you tell me that?
Her first friend was George Washington, and he could not tell a lie. And she's like, I have to go along with that. It's a great fucking motto to go by.
I have to imagine, like, the ultimate, like, I think I talked about this last time. My big hope is that War is completely lying about all their weaknesses, and they'll spring on this, like, oh no, I could, like, take control at any point. I could have, like, done all this and that, and I was just, like, leading you into a false sense of security. Because that's the only way I can see them spin War in a way that would make them antagonistic. At this point, they're just, like, a really edgy version of Venom.
but like they would have took control by now. I feel with like surviving and like I don't know all her. I feel like this is like if she took control any time, her like basically almost dying because she let the clumsy girl run away with like her only choice of a weapon. I don't think it's the case.
Hey, well, I guess.
I do love the honesty of. The honesty is the most interesting part of War.
Oh yeah, like I want it to be complete honesty, but if not, I want their honesty to be used as a weapon. Not
even Venom went to Eddie Brock and said, yeah, just don't go near any bells or fire, because you know, I'll fucking die. But all right, should we talk anything else? Should we talk about the other thing now?
I think it's good to move on. So we actually have a second little discussion, probably much shorter. We decided that we're going to go through all of Fujimoto's one-shots in addition to Chainsaw Man. So that way, if we have a month where that's pretty light, we have something else to talk about. We actually talked about these two chapters more than I expected. But
yeah.
Today we're going to be talking about Fujimoto's very first one-shot, which I believe they were 17 when they wrote it?
It's argued if they are 17 or 18 when they wrote it, because there's two conflicting dates. The main publication said they were 17 at the time, but they might have been 17 going on 18, and so there's a lot of confusion to how old Fujimoto really is, but it's only like a 1 year discrepancy.
So yes, and we are talking about the eponymous Niwa Tori ga Ita, which translates roughly to "there are two chickens in the garden," which is a Japanese tongue twister, as far as I understand. Which I guess it does sound pretty hard to say.
Yeah.
And he like didn't storyboard this. He inked it. It took 3 months to ink, and it was like his first manga. And
absolutely insane. He went right to inking. I mean, you can tell. Like, you look at some of the line work, and you're like, yeah, this definitely feels like a kind of a first attempt at something. But I still think it's really good. It's very competent. It's got his wit in there. Like, a lot of like the setup is very like funny and fresh, even though it was written 8 years ago. I think it still feels like really fresh.
And also the QA talks about like his cat. Like, going on while he was creating it, like his cat passed away, and like he was just like sad about that. But my favorite thing is just like how did you feel when you finished it and submitted it? He's like, I was looking forward to getting paid.
Yeah,
so
like,
fucking funny.
Fujimoto in these interviews, because there's a couple of these one shots where we actually get to see his thoughts and process on things. It's so nice to see Fujimoto like talk about like his creative process. Like at the end of the story, we get to see his like thoughts afterwards, and he's like, "I didn't think it was very interesting." And it's like, "Why do you think this was a final candidate, and why didn't it win? Because it wasn't interesting." And then his manager has to become, "I believe it was both because the plot and characters were underdeveloped." Like
he drew his editor with like a knife in his like a fucking kitchen knife in his hand.
It's very funny.
And it's also nice to see the evolution of Fujimoto's own, like, avatar, because we see it as this, like, kind heart, that, like, he has, like, these big eyes, and he's big smiling, and then we see his avatar now, which is this same one, sort of tilted to the side and more, like, doing a funny cartoony pose.
It looks like from Pop Team Epic, if you remember, Jim, like, the really like, crudely drawn ones, with, like, the big lips and, like, weird noses.
The Epic Team Pop or whatever
Pop
it's called.
Team Epic or something like that. But I do like how it does like stereotypical anime start of like waking up late with like all these fucking like monster looking aliens and like the tsundere.
Oh yeah, the big huge tsundere with like the monster face.
So
that's probably the gag that I think works the best. I really like this like screaming anime girl character.
I'm just putting in the chat thing of what I think the main alien was based off of was the Yi dinosaur alien.
It does kind of look like Yi, doesn't it?
That's what I'm pretty sure. He like if you had to look up anything on the internet, it was like that works.
Yeah, to me it looked like a dinosaur face. But yeah, basically like the backstory to this whole one shot is there was a big alien invasion. The aliens won because they have like anime transforming powers, and they are very like they love eating humans, but they don't really like understand. They can only like look at faces. Like they can't like see through disguise essentially.
I mean, yeah,
it's kind of funny.
It puts humans in the same place as chickens. Like if I put two chickens in front of you, could you tell the difference between them? Like just at a glance, if you didn't know them.
True, that's very true. So long as they didn't have different coloring, because I've seen very, very many chickens.
Look, two chickens of the same breed, like, and
yeah.
It's the oh man, I can't remember. There's a similar thing that some people can develop. It's something used in 999 actually.
Oh my god, I know you're talking about.
I think it's called prosopagnosia.
Yep.
and it's the like face blindness, like you can't discern faces from people, and like one of the examples they use is like go to a zoo and look at the monkey exhibit. Can you really tell the difference between the monkeys by just face value alone? And it's like, yeah, no, that's the position that they put humans in, is they are essentially cattle or chickens to be eaten.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and what's it called? Yeah, the aliens also just hate chickens. It's really funny. It's like putting people who like, oh, you put pineapples on your pizza? Ew, you eat chicken?
Chickens are gross. And
That's why everybody's shocked when you have the one disgusting guy that loves eating chicken.
and when they're talking about like the grossness of chickens, all I can think of is like the red versus blue bit with Andy talking about chickens and how gross they are.
Oh my god. Fucking, I haven't watched Red vs. Blue in fucking ages, man.
I will say, still holds up pretty good.
The early seasons still hold up.
Early seasons still hold up. They're a bit rough, but I enjoy it.
God, I was thinking I would go back and watch in like true 144p.
144p episodes are 2 minutes long.
Was that Halo 2, like, or there was like the visor, like crosshair still on the screen and not have it bother
Halo
me?
1.
Yeah.
Starting Halo Combat Evolved.
But yeah, this it's an interesting concept right out the gate.
Yeah. And
it is also just like on its face very comedic that the chicken costumes that the last humans in this settlement or whatever wear
it's like a
are
mascot.
so stupid.
It's like a mascot outfit, essentially.
I think it's implied that it was like for the play.
Yeah, it was literally a childhood play costume.
Also, I do like how the aliens just love human culture. Like they were just going to school like a human, using all their stuff and like
dressing like humans,
hilarious.
Going to school. It doesn't even seem like they're learning too much because you see them like writing on the blackboard. All they're doing is drawing like a funny line.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a face they're drawing.
But yeah. I think that was like the other big thing I got out of this, of just kind of like taking a step back and looking at how like inherently silly culture can be when you're like removing, like, especially like this is just like a manga, so it's not real, where it's just like a simulation of it, which is what the aliens are doing. They're just like simulating the life of like Japanese people, Japanese humans specifically.
They had the basics of Evangelion, like, oh, the tsundere.
I really do think it is pretty undeveloped as a concept. I think it like does have potential to be like a thing.
That's what I said too after reading it. Like, it does have like a power system and like
it really does feel like it could kind of, with some refinement, be like a decent shonen manga, let's say.
When the Fujimoto verse comes to be and we have like the Avengers style team up of the multiverse of Fujimoto works.
We'll have the elementary school girl. She'll be the representative from
Yeah, for this, not the guy, not the transformation alien man, no, the girl.
Yeah.
It is funny to me too that they just have like
Denji Agni,
transformation.
Denji Agni, the alien of this. Eri with vampire powers. Oh man, that'd be great. I want to see the Fujimoto verse. But yeah, we have Yuto and Ami, who are the chickens.
And then there's little world building about like, oh, there's like some human resistance in the mountains.
Typical
so like,
post-apocalyptic or like, you know, like end of the world apocalypse thing. Like, oh yeah, there is a pocket of humanity still alive.
Just something to give you hope, because it's like initially reading the story, I was like, oh my god, they're like the last two people alive. Like, that's horrible. Why would you even want to live anymore? Like, I don't know if I would, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it's bleak, but like they're like, this is like, it's almost a perfect like short dose of Fujimoto, where it's bleak. The characters are living just to live in some cases. There's twists around every corner, but it is compacted in a always somewhat lighthearted, humorous bunch. Even when they turn into these like terraformers style huge monster men, it's like this like dumb nose picking bully turns into like a giant fucking demon beast.
But it's also like a thing with Yuto always wants, like, he's always trying to get her to keep living, despite, I think the common theme as well, he's the one that motivates her to live on, essentially. It's like the driving force.
And also, when our fun alien friend transforms to save the day, I like that he also is like, oh, I really hope I didn't hurt the transfer student. Even though, like, he kicked him as hard as he can in the face to save our girl.
They'll have to go to the principal's office and get like suspended. But I also like the common thing of like, you know, the one alien, our main alien, just kind of saying like, "Oh, the humans are actually kind of intelligent. Don't you should we like feel bad about eating them?" Like, no, they ate pigs and cattle. They're no different. Fuck them. They're
It's
fucking animals.
It's just really funny to be like, oh no, yeah, like extermination, totally fine.
Fuck
Like,
them.
comparing that to just like the meat industry, which I mean, horrible. Like the meat industry is really bad. I won't pretend like it's not, but it's not like a planned extermination of all pigs or cattle. Like,
Also, the reasoning of like, oh yeah, they'll just get bored of Earth and just fucking all fly back away. That's like their motivation. Like, yeah, I'm sure they'll get bored of culture from Earth.
it's funny because the one boy, so what's his name, Yuta or whatever, the older boy human says that. So, but we do learn at the end that he actually is an alien. So I wonder if he has like insight about that. Maybe that is a thing that is like incoming. Like maybe the aliens will get bored and leave soon.
He knows your attention span, but I mean, but yeah, he does figure out like they're humans because he looked at their faces and they're very obviously not fucking chickens.
And I like his plan to change the chicken mask into a cat mask.
Yeah,
yeah, that's very funny.
I also just love seeing the other students in the class.
Yeah, I love all their stupid little designs. Like there's one kid that has like 3 eyeballs, but they're like slits. The Cyclops kid. It's just funny. Like that's why I think I wouldn't want to see this like given any more brain power because it works just fine as like, as you said, it's like a morsel of Fujimoto.
Yeah.
Just that everything's tightly compacted.
Also, just the mention of chickens in like the garden makes a transfer student like literally become the Hulk and like burst out the fucking window.
Because they eat chickens on his planet. It's just funny. It's just funny.
And then
silly.
like he lands like they're not chickens. He's like, I can eat cats too. So the plan just immediately goes to ruin.
He also has to yell transform to actually like transform. It's really funny. But yeah, he becomes just a white fucking blob who wants to eat them as cats, which not a great plan they had.
And the transformations really like show how much Fujimoto has always been inspired by Abara. Like it's seen even this early in his career. Like the bully's transformation or the new kid's transformation is like Abara in style. The main guy's transformation is somewhat, but like he looks more like a character that he'll later bring up in Fire Punch, which is just a naked, weird, masked man that's never given a name. There's a lot of characters in Fire Punch that like have prominent roles in the story, but just never given names.
Yeah,
and
Jim
I've never read Abara before.
It's pretty good. Specifically, like they're like aliens that help the characters transform, and I think they're called like Wana transformations or Gana transformations. It's like a word that I always have to pronounce whenever I talk about a Chainsaw Man character, but like I'm never confident on its pronunciation any of the times.
But yeah, so like they run away. A giant fist comes from the heavens. Very much reminds me of when the kick went to Speedwagon Space in part 1. There's a very large boot to this really small head.
I love that.
And I love the police officer alien.
Very funny.
2 tiny humans.
It's just
I
very
am police
funny.
officer. Humans
This is like
have
a One
no
Punch
rights.
Man character. This is a literal like One Punch Man character that would just like a big fucking monster design that comes in.
I got big One Punch Man vibes, especially like the vaccine, whatever vaccine man, like the first guy he fights.
Oh,
just like the vibe of that like encounter. I feel like that was maybe inspirational to this, but
Also, man,
yeah.
the horror that Fujimoto has always been able to draw like very grim scenes.
I love drawing people dying in somebody's arms.
Like that fucking alien eating the guy, like with the 6.
Very much, what's it called? The eating a sun art.
Saturn eating a sun.
Yes. Fucking eyes bulging
the
out.
eyes. It has like a fucking Mars Attacks eyes.
Yes. The mixture of like both of those together.
Weird spider face digging into some dude's shoulder who has no head. Like it's just
God,
crazy.
The weird teeth of like the middle one with like he just had like 3 broken teeth and like 2 like just like a long middle one. Very, very interesting. I think it's supposed to be a spider, more of the spider face, but yeah, but the actual teeth. But yeah, we get the flashback of another his alien form, like Yuto's alien form, looks like very much like a One Punch Man. Also,
Oh yeah, I like that it's also very reserved. Like
yeah.
he's a pretty cool design, and it's a nice reveal to say like, yeah, that person who's like, not all aliens are bad. We knew that with the first guy, our first alien friend, but it's cool to see like someone who probably would have been like one of the strongest aliens who decides he doesn't want to fight. But I like that the way he gets Ame to run away is not being like, I need you to run. He's like, I need her to hate me so she'll run away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna eat you. Also, the literal thing that like the Uno card that like literally changed his mind was like, what if you would have been eaten? Would you like that? Like, oh fuck, he got me there.
Shit, I wouldn't have liked that.
It's like, damn, that's a good point.
Damn.
Like literally all they need to do was like have a microphone, just yell that to other aliens and be like, fuck. Also, just like her like eating the corn, it looks like she's like holding it tenderly in this one panel. I fucking hysterical. But yeah, it also kind of like notice like his like face is always drawn in like shadows, his eyes.
Yeah, I noticed that initially. Is like, okay, we got a mystery about this man.
But yeah,
or I thought he was supposed to be like a self-insert character.
But it pretty much is like the hero arrives moment where like the face like breaks off and like it's like his transformation moment of like stopping the bad guy.
And it's also a nice way to really put into perspective how much how strong I like that there's also a little bit of power scaling here, because we see the alien who saves both of them gets completely annihilated by the police fist. Because we see in like panels below like his severed head, and if you go back to the panel, like he really got fucked up in like one punch. But our main dude here was literally squashed under the punch and just stands back up. So he was clearly someone of like superior strength, and then he transforms, and it's just the Chainsaw Devil.
It's really cool. I do actually really like the final version of it, except the policeman alien at the very end. That last shot, it looks horrible. Like that is such a terrible pose.
Oh yeah.
Fujimoto came a long way.
Yeah. You can tell that he was really crunching for that last page.
But yeah, like I had a chainsaw here, and you just have like Denji's final transformation, like chapter 80 to 90.
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting too how there's a lot of stuff in this I would say I don't like. I like a lot of the design work. The ones that aren't like comedic, I don't really enjoy. Like I don't really like the main guy's face. He looks very like reptilian, like the kind of reptilian alien. Like the main guy is in like the first alien. The first alien
he's definitely based on like classic grays.
Once I saw the Yi picture, I can just enjoy this like 10 times more now that he's like pretending he's based it off of that.
He honestly looks like the alien Yu-Gi-Oh archetype, but if they got like a new support. Honestly, it looks like if Rush Duels added the alien archetype to it, because a lot of Rush Duel cards are just take concepts from the main game and reinvent them. So I could totally see like the alien archetype just being this fucking manga, where it's like high school aliens.
Yeah, it could be an archetype, or just they make him boss monsters that's just like a sexy buff guy, or like a waifu, like a cards to have. Oh yeah, we need people to buy these cards, so let's make the monster like a guy.
It's just a dude.
Yeah, didn't they make like the dragon, a maid dragon?
Oh yeah, well that was because someone at Konami watched Dragon Maid, like we want to make an archetype based off Dragon Maid.
And they made one of the most annoying archetypes to duel sometimes.
Yes, and one of the true examples of waifu tax on cards, where like the cards aren't good, but they just have people love waifus, so they just have a tax on them.
Waifu tax.
So look at fucking tour guide to the underworld. One of the best designs. But yeah, no, Jim, it exists. There's a waifu tax on like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
I'm not even surprised, honestly. Oh, this is cute. I like the tour guide to the underworld character.
She has a very good design.
Is she really expensive?
Oh, well, she was also a very good card as well. But she has a whole archetype of like sub cards of like her tour bus to the underworld, of like her leading. It's a whole like story in a card with her where she like she took banned cards on a tour of hell, and then the banned cards got like lost and left behind, so they're just like getting arrested and everything and thrown into jail.
Oh yeah, no, they get on the wrong tour bus and they're going to the banned zone, and it's
like
it's pretty great.
Like Sangan and Witch of the Black Forest are in there. 2 cards that were banned for like forever. And then I think they got unbanned. I think they have art of them getting back. It's Yu-Gi-Oh has a way of, it's like those One Piece like covers that like tell a story, but only like 1 page of art.
Yeah,
like that.
Dark Magician
That's
Girl
funny.
changed Yu-Gi-Oh forever.
Oh my god, you have that's an understatement. Probably the most. I'm trying to think of like other like, where's our Bastinatrix art?
what were they thinking?
Shout out to my Burstinatrix fans out there.
All dozens of them. I don't know, man. I there's a Chaz figure that comes with all the Ujamas, and I want that. I don't think I have like I think there's not many Yu-Gi-Oh figures that aren't just Blue Eyes, Dark Magician Girl,
Or girl.
and they have like $200 Egyptian god card figures that are
Damn,
insane.
Burstinatrix. This is just a fetish character.
Yeah, they well, there's also a there's Japan art of her, and then there's a censored version of them.
I found the censored
there
version.
are
It's
plenty.
very funny.
There are plenty of censored cards. Like Monster Reborn had to be censored in America because
It was
the
just
original
an
art
Ankh.
was like, yeah, with an Ankh, and they can't have religious imagery in Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Wow, that's crazy.
I go a whole thing of talking about like ban Yu-Gi-Oh cards either because they're too hot, there's some religious imagery, or like, so there's a card called Dong Zulu who just like a gang member who had 2 revolvers in his hand, but he can't have guns, so he has like knives in his hand instead, or like
He talks like Christopher Walken. I'm
there's
Don
also
Zalug.
well, yeah, Don Zulu speaks like that, like I summon myself.
The worst part about Don
Zalug.
Zalug, I would like not to derail this even more, but the worst part about Don Zalug is he's part of an archetype called the Dark Scorpions, but he's the only card in the archetype that doesn't have Dark Scorpions in the name. So any card involving the Dark Scorpions has to also include, like, in quotes, also summon Don Zalug. So
There's some really funny wording in cards. I think I talked a little bit over. I streamed like Master Duel, and like I gone over a couple of like some really awkward wordings in cards. There's one card that's like, it's like shuffle like cards from your graveyard into your deck and form a new deck is like the wording for it, and nothing like means like it's correct about
you can
that.
tell how bad a card is if it still uses the text from like 1980 or 1998. Like, it'll be like, return the cards to the top of your deck in any order you desire.
Oh my god, there's some really like, I'm pretty sure like the card called Last Will got banned because the text is just so fucking all over the place. There's a card.
Alright.
There's also a card. Wait, one more. There's
One
one
more.
card called Last Turn that it's banned because it's a fucking nightmare to rule, and you need a spreadsheet. So when people do like old formats, they need a 3 like page like Google Doc of potential rulings to this card. And if you look at the card, Jim, the text on it is in fucking insane. But the card art's cool for it though.
Was it called Last Rule?
Last Turn. It's a literal like win condition card where like
I think it's like you
nothing...
summon 2 monsters. If they do battle, the winner of the duel is decided by the battle.
But people would also just have a card that stops you from special summoning a card, so you just couldn't summon a card to your opponent's side of the field, so you just automatically won.
Or you'd summon a monster that can't be destroyed by battle and create an infinite lock.
Yeah, there's some really funny infinite loops. There's
Infinite loops are great in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because, like, there's one with Jinzo, where I think if you give him Amplifier, then a card that makes you give him to your opponent, it will give it to your opponent, he'll negate the card, and then it will be given back to you, but then immediately given back to the opponent, and it's just an infinite loop where you're just passing Jinzo forever.
There's no more. There's a card called Yadagarasu. Just got like unbanned recently for some reason, but it's a spirit monster, which means it comes back to your hand at the end of the turn. But if it hits directly, your opponent skips their draw phase. So if they have like no cards in hand, you just hit them for like 200 damage, and then they just don't have a draw phase, so they can't do anything. So you just have to hit them for like 10, like
Oh yeah,
20, 30 times unless they like give up.
And it came out in a format where a card called Robin Goblin existed, and like White Magic Hat, and those were 2 cards that just like take cards from your opponent's hand and put them in the graveyard. So you could just dump your opponent's hand and then just keep pecking them to death with Yadagarasu, who will always go back to your hand afterwards.
It's like the slowest death.
That's so stupid.
That's why there's a very similar modern card called Mystic Mind that doesn't let your opponent play the game because if they have more cards than you just play the card. So they just eventually they just spend a million turns comboing out a field. So you just deck them out slowly because they can't do damage, activate effects. They can't do anything.
Mystic Mind is so fucking dumb.
It's very dumb.
Thank you for coming to the Chainsaw Man and Yu-Gi-Oh podcast.
I love Yu-Gi-Oh! It's so dumb.
All right, well, that's all I had to say about Niwa, Natiwa, Nabai, Nabita.
Hey, if Chainsaw Man's all hate, we're gonna make you watch an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX so you can watch the dumbest Yu-Gi-Oh! possible to get a grip on it.
Niwa.
As long as they use forbidden things.
Niwa Tori ga Ita. I had to practice saying that because that one's fun to say.
I was like, Jim, not only do they use forbidden stuff in Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, they make up rules as they go in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime.
Great.
But, alright, should we end it?
Yeah, I think that's a good time to end.
Yu-Gi-Oh! talk. I love talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! I guess I'll plug it up. Meti, if you want to plug up anything, go for it.
You can buy Shimonetta at buyshimonetta.com.
Is that all your plugs?
No, that's it.
Yep.
Alright. If you made it this far, God help you if you did. You can leave a comment, subscribe, hit the like button, all that fun stuff. You can follow anybody here on Twitter or the podcast. You can also join the Discord. And I think that's it because I am starting to sweat to death.
Yeah, that's really it. Thank y'all for listening. Thanks again for joining us, Meti. It's always a treat to have you on for these.
No problem.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what these two weeks worth of chapters are going to give us at the end of the month. But
yeah, me too. All right, and then in the meantime, hang in there, folks.
we got part 6 batch to hold them over, and the Chainsaw Man anime.
Yeah, every Monday we're dropping a new Stone Ocean podcast.
Are you guys planning to do Chainsaw Man episode reactions?
Probably. We got something to do. We're almost done, watching Evangelion and Part 6, so...
You spoiled Evangelion.
Fuck. It's taking its time.
We still have not... We've almost watched the whole series.
Oh man, you get to finish Evangelion and Part 6? You just gotta hold off for another year and a half to get those endings coming out at the same time.
But I think other than we have the fall season's stacked with that only Chainsaw Man. They got Mob Psycho and
yeah, we've got too much.
Mob Psycho featuring what the winner of the DILF competition,
the winner of the DILF, the Twink, and the second place prize winner for Tumblr Sexy Man.
Reagan. I think Pop Team Epic might be coming back. There's a lot of good shit in the fall, better than the summer.
And then following that, next year we get the second season of Jujutsu Kaisen. Let's go,
Hell
baby.
yeah. The Jujutsu Kai Quest is coming back in full force. Hell yeah.
All right. And on that note, thank y'all again. Have a nice day.
Yeah.